Good afternoon, wonderful viewers out there. Well, this is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint. Just to remind you that this is the Students Hour. And when we talk about the Students Hour, this is the platform in which we invite students from various schools in the Gambia. Well, today with me is one of those students in one of the schools in the Gambia. So I would like them to introduce themselves. So can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Good afternoon, wonderful viewers. My name is Omar Sane. I'm a student from Nusrat High School.
Thank you very much, Omar, for that wonderful introduction.
Good afternoon, viewers. I am Abubakar Sise, a student of Nusrat Senior Secondary School.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction as well. Well, just to tell you the topic that we will be discussing in this platform today, that is to say, the importance of youth in national development. We all know that youths are important in every country. So, for that being the case, I would like to ask you the first question: what do you understand about someone being a youth? Like someone being a youth, what do you understand about that?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a wonderful question. First of all, the name youth started at the age of 12 to 25. Anybody in within that range is a youth, so we consider them to be youth. So those are categories that we want to work with, and they are very important when it comes to national development, because the beacon of hope of the country lie on the youth of the country. So we see this in the Gambia, 75% of the population as youth. So we have a great responsibility toward national development. That's why today we'll be here to tell you what are the responsibilities of youth toward national development. But be with us. The age of 12 to 25 is the range that are categorized as youth.
Sure, thank you very much for that clarification, because we do understand that some people who someone has been a youth at 18 above, which is not the case. But you guys sitting out there, just to remind you that if you're 12 or 13, you're also a youth and you're expected to do something for the country. Okay, what are some of the things you expect from a youth?
Yeah, thank you very much for that beautiful question. As this is very apparent, youths are the fundamental pillars of any country. Uh, Youths, in particular, are people who are productive members of their societies or their countries. So, in particular, the Gambia here, there are many things that we expect from youths. For any country to pursue its goals, the youth are the people or the ones who can make that country to be productive.
Sure.
So if the youths of any country are not, let me just say, they are not active, particularly that country too will not be active. Therefore, we expect youths to be active and productive members of this country so that the country can move forward.
Sure, that is really a great, wonderful thing that he said. So, what do you expect from the government or other philanthropists to do for the youths? We all know, like, they're part of the backbone of the nation. So, what are the things that the government should do for them to encourage them and to motivate them to do more for the nation?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, Brian. What do we expect from the philanthropists and the government to do for the youths? Because the government have the avenue, and they should create the space for youths to showcase their talents that they have within the country. The philanthropists also should come in. The government only cannot play. The government should be there as a referee, as we said in government laissez-faire policy. So the referee will serve, the government will serve as referee between the philanthropists and the youths. So then the government will create the space and the avenue for the youths to come on board to take up responsibility. But then the philanthropists also will come on and give the youths the chance for them to create, to do it. As Fine TV and other media outlets are doing, they are giving youth to showcase their talent in poetry, drama, and other events. So that is what we expect from the philanthropists and the government. The government give Fine TV and other media outlet the avenue for them to what, to allow the youths to share their thoughts with the public.
Sure.
So that's what we expect from the government and the philanthropists.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess if you're a philanthropy or you're part of the government there, I guess you heard him well. So, what are some of the challenges that you think the youths go through in this country? Because every day or every time we heard youths complain that there is no employment, like a lot of complaints. So, what are the challenges that you think Gambian youths are going through?
That is another beautiful question. As you said, in this country, to be honest, if we are to talk about the country in particular, things aren't going uprightly though. And we all know that the youths are suffering, I can say. Though we would say employment, it's a problem in this country. It's another thing that really affects youth of this country. Um, but the government can create at least conducive environment for youth to have better job in order to have better life in this country too. Because it is one of the reasons that's why youths are resorting to these perilous journeys across the desert in order to what? Find greener pasture. But if there are at least better employment opportunities, they wouldn't go. They would stay here, they will work in this country, and they would develop the country and they would die in this country. What I would like to say regarding the question is that the challenges that youth faced, in particular this country, is at another level. They face many challenges. As I said, employment is one of them. But to reduce that, the government just needs to create conducive environment for them to have at least a better employment here.
Thank you very much that you touched that part, which I want to ask your question based on that is about this journey that we call the back way, the illegal migration. Well, we all know that the youth go through this journey because of a reason to find a greener pasture, and we see many families in the Gambia are crying or suffering because they lose their loved ones. So, what say do you have regarding this back way issue?
At the back way, it is something that is disheartening in this country. As we speak, a recent past, we lost a good number of our potential youths in the Mediterranean Sea trying to secure a place to provide for their families back home. But then, what I would advise my fellow youths is let us stay in the Gambia here. We can make it here. There is no place better than home. No matter what we gain in Europe, we are going to pay tax in Europe. At the same time, the money, when we send it back home, we are going to pay another tax back home here. So it's better we stay in the Gambia here. We struggle, we develop our country to the level where Europeans are. I'm not saying going to Bagwe is bad. It is not bad, but the mean in which we go through to reach to our destination, we face many challenges on the road within our continent itself. Our own brothers and sisters within the African continent here are maltreating us like dogs, like animals. When we reach in Europe, we are also circled in camps. We are not allowed, we are restricted. We are not allowed to mix with their population because they believe that we are running away from responsibilities. And if you run away from responsibility in your house, you're going to take up responsibility in another man's house. What we refuse to do in this country are the things that we are doing outside. Honestly, it's sad to say, but then Gambian youths are very reluctant to open up small business in this country, but find them outside. They all work in the farms in Spain. Only few of them work in the towns or in cities in Spain. They all work in the villages, the remote villages of Spain. They work there in the farms. So why not we do it here? We have the arable land. We said 95% of our land is arable. Our water is a swamp water. It is not salty water. We are far ahead of many countries in the African continent. But come to see, go to Kenya, go to Tanzania. Those countries are producing cocoa, they are producing tea better than the Gambia. What are we producing? Nothing. Our youths are all going to Bagwe. And what are we having after they embark on the journey to Bagwe? So we cannot only depend on blaming the government, but we should blame the youths also for taking the journey to Bagwe because we can make it in the Gambia here. The government, though, should be blamed. They should also create job opportunity for the youths in order for them to engage themselves and then secure something for their families.
Okay, for that being the case, what are some of these effects? Like, what are the effects you think this illegal migration will have on our nation in the future?
In the future, one, loss of potential youths, because most of these youths that are living, they are all graduates from universities, some from Gambia College, some from senior secondary schools, some are even teachers and nurses. So if we lose all these skillful people and talented people, so in real future, what are we going to rely on to take this nation forward? So those are effects that this bagway is creating in on the country. So we should call a national dialogue to discuss about it, because living this thing like this, it will be like we are putting our nation into erection, and we should talk about it.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I guess you heard him well. It is so disheartening that most of the people that engage in this journey are people that already have positions. Like most of them do, some of them do not have position, but some of them are teachers, some of them are other occupations as well. So, what are some of the importance youths have in national development?
Yeah, national development is key. Development itself is holistic. For any country to move forward, the youth of that country are the pillars or are the only ones that can move that country forward. National development, in particular, us the youth of this country, if you look at our development arena, it's very bad, to be honest. We are back. But when you go to other countries, you would find that there are many associations, there are many groups in other countries. But when you come to Gambia, it's the reverse. Um, we, the youths of this country, national development is key. We have to engage, we have to embark and revamp on national development because it is the only thing that can move the country forward. For instance, we are saying if there are associations in this country that can at least have many people, many youths entered in, they would organize cleansing exercises, they would organize many more activities that can boost the development of the country. So this is what we are talking about. It is very important. It is holistic in every state. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. It is holistic in every state. So, how do you feel like to see the unemployment rate in the Gambia being rise, like it's rising every single day? How do you feel seeing that?
Honestly, being a Gambian and seeing that the level of unemployment rising above expectation is something that I feel very bad about. But then, how to do? We have to bear with it and then get into the system and change the system. If you want to change something that you are not close to, you end up falling into a ditch. So we got to do it, take it easy. When we get into the system as development oriented students or development oriented youths, then when we get in there, we are in the higher rank, we should then get changing. But then the changing begins at our level. What am I doing as a youth? What are you doing as a youth for the development of the country? That is the question that we should ask ourselves. Not only asking the stakeholders, what do you do for the country, but what do you do for the country you in question?
Sure.
So me, as a youth, I have a responsibility toward my house. I have a responsibility toward the village that I dwell in. And I also have a responsibility toward the state as well. So it is very, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but then, um, honestly, it's sad.
Yeah.
The level of unemployment in this country is skyrocketing.
Sure.
I think the government may be watching, or some stakeholders may be watching, but then they should also try and improve on creating employment in the country, because you cannot keep all the youths in your country while you're not creating any employment. That will create a high crime rate in the country, and that is not also good for the national development. So in order to curtail that, the government has a role to play, the youth too has a role to play. What are the role of the government in curtailing that is to create more employment for the youths. Not only in the teaching field, not only in the army, we have Jahari Pachar. We have Jahali Pachar there. The government can create employment through Jahali Pachar, and when they bring a policy before the parliament and shade, now this we want every senior secondary school student who graduate, you must go to Jahal Pachar and serve the nation in farming for 3 good years as practical in agriculture. That is employment. And in return, we will be paying you your allowances for 3 years. After that practical, do you think all those youths that graduate from that farming for 3 years, they have experience, they can go and open what? Their own farms and start working.
Yeah.
That will bring what? Food self-sufficiency in this country. And that will reduce what? The level of unemployment in the country, because people will embark on what? Farming. And there is what? Self-employment. But the government aren't doing that, and they have seen that space there. So the government, we are advising you to take up that responsibility, to bring a policy before the parliament and says that every graduating student from high school must go to Jahari Pachar and spend 3 good years of practical in agriculture in order for us to reduce the level of unemployment. Youths, this is not against you. We are just bringing something that will help the country at large, not only individuals. Yes.
Well, it is devastating, but it is said that as a good citizen, the question you should always ask yourself is, what can I do for my nation, and not what can my nation do for me? Because who is the government? The government is the people, and that is us, and we are the people who elect that president there. So, what are some of the effects that you think unemployment will bring in the Gambia?
I think that question it's well known to everybody, but I will just give a gist of it as time may allow. Yeah, unemployment really affect the Gambia at large. Um, for a country, or for the economic degradation of a country to go high and high, is when there is unemployment. That's one of the key things there. And then for a country to go ahead, to be very rich in poverty, it's when there is unemployment. And then for crime rate to be over increased in any country is when there is unemployment. These are one of the things, or these are some of the things that cause unemployment in every country. For instance, we are saying that the youth, some are underemployed, some are unemployed. Why some are underemployed is because of certificate. We do say that. But I am trying to say that not everybody can be in office. We, the youths in particular, we have a lot to do for the country. There are many wastages in this country. We need to take those things out. And then, as the youths of the country, we cannot be solely dependent on the government. The government can't do all. If they can do all, they will not be able to do all, in fact. Therefore, the youths of the country need also to revamp on other things in order to help themselves. For instance, crime rate is skyrocketing, it's just at another level. It is uncontrollable, in fact. In this country now, we are saying we always hear rape cases, rob, everything we do here in this country. It's because unemployment too is there. If somebody has something to engage in, that particular person would not be thinking of doing evil things in the country, because you would have something to do. So you will not be thinking of doing harmful things in the country, and you would have that patriotism for your country. And poverty is another thing, which is hardly or barely easy to control or handle. But to have that curtailed, the government needs to provide employment for the youths. It's one of the things that can boost the economy of the country. It's through employment. The government can establish many companies for the youths, different types of companies for the youths. If you go to other countries, there are different companies that are not owned by private people, but they are owned by the government. If that happens, if the government creates such, at least the youths would also have that courage to work in that country. But if the companies are always owned by private people, ah, those people can send them out at any time they wish. So therefore, I am urging the government to do such. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very certain that crime rate is really a threat to national development. So I believe that you're also part of an association or a group called the Patriot. So can you please kindly tell us what you mean about the Patriot as an association?
Yeah, first of all, we organized this group association called Patriot in 2023, and this association is organized or created by school going children, and later we extended the membership of this association called the Patriot to our, I said, uncle school or auntie school, that is the University of the Gambia and the Gambia College. Now our membership is nationwide. And this association is created in order to give up to the society. Because we believe that the you as youths, we cannot be advocating for rights of youths in the country when we are not doing actually nothing to show that this is what we are doing for the state. Instead, we are only saying this is what the youths need, this is what the youths need. But instead, what the youth should do, we are not showing that. So we started our first ever exercise in the country or activity. That is, we went embark on a cleansing exercise at Latikunda Market. That is December 23rd, if I don't mistake. Yeah, 23rd December. Yeah, we embark on a cleansing exercise at Latikunda Market, and we are planning another cleansing exercise at Brikama Market, possibly next month. And this association, which is called Patriot, the membership is high schools all over the country, upper basic schools, and University of the Gambia, and any other patriot citizen of this country who want to join the Patriot Association, you are highly welcome. We can also give out our details. If you want to reach us through, you can call the numbers 37-433-28, 37-433-28, 27-47-946, 27-47-946, 32 no 34-25-388, 34-25-388. These are numbers that when you call, you want to join the Patriot Association, you can reach us through.
Okay. Okay, before we draw the curtain, I would like to ask you what final message do you have for the people watching?
Yeah, thank you very much for that last question. As Umar rightly talked about the association, which is the Patriots, though this association emanated from the foresight of few individuals. Though we haven't started doing much more activities yet, we've done only one activity in this country that was held at Latikunda. Um, and we also held one meeting, but we are expecting to hold many meetings, inshallah. As he said, the Patriot is aimed at providing sustainable development in this country, and then also embarking on important activities in this country. For instance, cleansing exercise is one of the things that can help the country, because if you imagine when we held the activity that was cleansing exercise at Atekunda, uh, to be honest, there were many wastes there, but we tried our level best. We've talked to the councillor. From there, he also did his level best, and then we organized the cleansing exercise, and it was really fascinating. So we are urging every youth to join us to do this together. As he mentioned the numbers, if anybody wants to join the organization, you can call at least one of the numbers in order to be a member of the organization. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, that is indeed a wonderful thing because cleansing exercise it also helps in combating disease and disease outbreaks as well. So, what final message do you have for the people?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, wonderful viewers. My last message to the youths and the nation at large is, please let us be vigilant, because fortune favors the vigilant. And how can you be vigilant if you are not a patriot citizen? It will be very difficult for you to be vigilant. So please, I'm urging every you to be vigilant. Being vigilant means to know things that are surrounding you. What are surrounding us is a devilish things. So let us be very mindful in our societies. Let us be watchdogs of the society, because back then, before we have structured governments, we have youth groups who are vigilant, and through their vigilante services, they provide security to the societies that they dwell in. So things are happening in our communities like youths are not in them. So let us try and be very vigilant of things that are happening in our surroundings, because our sisters are vulnerable, and most of the criminals that are attacking, they are attacking our sisters. So our sisters' lives are in our hands. We cannot only um, lay our hopes on the security apparatus of this nation. They aren't enough. They can do all. But when we organize ourselves as vigilante groups, we can also curtail some of the crime rates in our country. And another thing that I also want to put to the nation is, let us be very mindful in waste control in our state. Because when you go to South Africa, their cities have been ranked in Africa as the most cleanest city for 10 good years. That is 1 decade. They haven't shake their position. They are number one. And how did they able to do it? Through patriotism. They love their cities. They love their country. And anything that you eat, if you don't have anywhere to trust it, you put it in your pocket until when you see a dustbin, you trust it there. It's very important. But just come to our city, Banjul. People eating banana, throwing it everywhere, drinking canned drinks, throwing the cans everywhere, throwing rubbish everywhere. That's not helping us. Please, as youths, a patriot citizen of this country, let us also try to reuse rubbish in our state. That is also part of what development when it comes to ranking in the world.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. I guess we need to be vigilant, because being a patriot, it's not only by the words of mouth, but actions as well. So I believe you also do action as a youth and as a patriot of the Gambia. Thank you. As youths every single day, what we should ask ourselves, the question we should ask ourselves is, what can I do for my nation, and what can my nation do for me? So for that being the case, thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the rest of our programs. I was your host, our Camara.